joining tonight. Welcome to Chronicles. I want to let you know that this is brought to you by Influence Media Entertainment Group, where your event is priority. You can always visit the website at iimeg.com. Also, you can email at yourinfluence1@gmail.com. And of course, you can call at 440-549-0620 to get us. I am Michelle Edwards Whitfield, your Chronicles host. And I am so excited. I'm giving you spirit fingers because I am so excited to have this young lady on tonight. You know, as I said before, this is Women's History or Herstory Month. And I'm so excited to bring you all some phenomenal women who are already well known, but I know that I will be presenting to some and introducing to others, none other than the incomparable Cheryl Woodruff-Brooks. Thank you, Cheryl, so much for taking time out of your busy day. I know that you are a woman on the move and doing so much. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on and just being with us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. Most importantly, thank you for choosing me to be a part of your energy, your world. I appreciate that.
Well, you know, I am big on loving and making sure that my circle of influence is just that, you know, energy. It's too much negativity. We don't have to mine for that, you know. Right. So it's like when we can see women, sisters who are doing it and making a difference in the world, not just a self-centered work, but actually making a difference in the world. I'm just so excited about that. You know, there is so much to you, and folks, I know that you all have probably seen, and I want to invite you all to like, share, and follow, so that you can always get the broadcast and that you will know what's going on. I want to invite you to tag your friends right now because you do not want them to miss this episode. Replay is cool, but it's nothing like the first energy, the first serving of it. So you want to go ahead and be in on this. This woman, I don't know where to start. She does so much. Sometimes, you know, in my day, I'm just trying to get one thing together. But when I look at all that she is doing and her journey, and for me, I really think the journey is really most important. You know, we get to where we're going, but we're who we are when we get there because of the process, because of the journey. And I have to let y'all know she is a native Clevelander. Cleveland, Ohio represent. Yes! She is representing Cleveland, Ohio across the world, y'all. So as I had said before, she is an author. She is a composer, a lyricist. She is, she does everything. You know, she's an advocate for the arts. So all of us who are artists, we know how important that is because on every level, when there's a budget to be cut, they want to cut what we do naturally. And it's so important for the world to stay stable. The arts, music, dance, all of that is what brings us in here. So Cheryl, again, welcome. I can read your bio. Let me just give the folks a little bit of information here. And I got to tell you all, she has a book out that is called Chicken Bone Beach. And it will change your life. It is a pictorial. And I'm telling you, when I got this, let me just hold this up. I know it's probably backwards. I was trying to get my pictures loaded, and they'll probably load as soon as we're done. But I want you folks to see this. This pictorial it's beautiful. But Cheryl Woodruff-Brooks has compiled this history of Atlantic City's racially segregated beach. And so she's going to tell you a little bit more about that. But about her, she is a legislative assistant with the Pennsylvania House of Representatives who recently completed her Master's of Arts in American Studies at Pennsylvania State University. Her passion for writing began as a child and won her a Martha Holding Jennings Essay Scholarship in high school. And that high school was what, Cheryl?
John Adams.
Is that the Rebels?
The Rebels.
Rebels.
None other.
None other than the Rebels.
Right,
I have a girlfriend.
I still love my high school.
So, rebels, listen, y'all got somebody representing across the globe for you. And I don't know, Cheryl, I thought I was trying to claim you for Shaw High School, but that's okay. That's okay.
Shaw is dope. I always love Shaw. Yeah. Love me
But
some
I have,
Shaw people.
yeah, thank you. But I have some dear friends that are rebels, which is you as well. And so to continue on, while pursuing your master's from Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio, you're also a professional vocalist. You write the songs for your own music projects as well as other artists. And you were featured in the Currents magazine, which is a Pennsylvania State University alumni magazine. And I just really want to jump right in there. And you could just share with us just a little bit of who you are, what you want to share, you know, your hobbies or, you know, family life or whatever you like. Just tell us, introduce us to you.
Sure. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. Um, and you mentioned my day job. And the reason I can do so many things is because I do them one thing at a time. I think that's how I do it. I don't try to, I try, but um, I fail. So, you learn to create a life that has balance. And so, what else about me? Goodness, you said a lot about what I've done with literature. So, I'll tell you a little bit about that. Let's stay on that. So, my family moved from Cleveland, Ohio to Pennsylvania to pursue jobs with Milton Hershey School. And while working, I decided to take advantage of their tuition free education and took my tail back to school and decided, because I'm a lifelong learner, it's just something in me. And so it was no problem to go back to school, after, I don't know, like a 25-year break and
Wow.
just pick up where I left off. I probably was the best student I've ever been, in fact, because as you mature, you become more attentive and more appreciative of the knowledge you get. And so I worked and I went to school part time and at Penn State's Harrisburg campus. And I just kind of stumbled on the story I wrote. It wasn't part of the plan at all. But I always say, man plans and God laughs. You just never know what He has for you, and so it just came about from just seeing the pictures in Philadelphia, and I had to pick a thesis. And because I love the picture so much, I said, let me dig a little deeper into this research. It called for me to make several trips to Temple University and just sit for hours and stare at thousands of photographs. It also required me at some point to drive to Atlantic City and actually try to get some oral history from people who could speak very intimately about their livelihood, their life in Atlantic City, their experiences growing up in a beach town, a touristy town, and somehow it all tied back in to what I love, which was music. Um, One of the attractions to this segregated beach was the music. Some of our country's and world's greatest jazz musicians, as well as many soul artists, got their gig time in. If they weren't in Harlem hitting up those speakeasies in the 40s, then they were coming to New Jersey and working on Kentucky Avenue. And
Wow.
Kentucky Avenue is very much an equivalent, if you will, to 125th in New York in the 40s, with just so many clubs allowing African American artists to perform and make money with their art. So it was easy to fall in love with this story because it it just has so many great layers. It also allowed me to research a town, quite frankly, that had a community of Blacks that remind you of a Chinatown today, because it was a town that enacted segregation and Jim Crow laws were in effect. They created their own everything, their own banks, their own pharmacies, their own, you name it, whatever we needed, they created on their side of town. So African Americans were entrepreneurs to a great extent, from like the 20s to the 60s in Atlantic City, starting their own um, trade chamber, and they had about 250 businesses that were Black owned, and they made money the same way that white Atlantic City made it. They made it through tourism. They opened bed and breakfasts. They promoted large events. So like the Greeks used to come to Atlantic City to host things. I mean, it's a great story, and it's so relevant today as we recognize the state we're in. And I ain't gonna make this about politics at all, but I do want to say that this town was an example of, given an opportunity, you can make it on your on your own merits, on your own worth, on your own skill set. There was not unemployment created yet during this time. There was no welfare system. Black people got together and worked together and empowered each other, and they were just a template of a really great community. So I was so proud to share this history, because we need to hear that. We need to hear that we can do it on our own. We can make it on our own. We can educate ourselves, and we can set up shop and thrive. And we don't need a handout, and we just need an opportunity. We just need equality, you know. So it was my honor and my pleasure to write the story, and to especially sit down and interview folks about it. I tried to find people alive during that time, so I was talking to older people. I was interviewing people that were like in their 90s and their 70s, and I just the whole experience just really it changed my life in many ways, in the sense that I can be really proud of who I am, and my heritage, in a way that I probably didn't appreciate as much before. So that's the whole book thing.
Oh, that is so awesome. You have said so much in that. I mean, I can only imagine you were different, the difference that you were after speaking to these people who have lived this life of inconvenience and did such great things. I think now that we have all of these modern conveniences, sometimes I think it's debilitated us in some ways. But when you talk about having your skill set, having that template, and just being able to, as people of color, as Black folks, we're going to make our own. We really have to go back to that. So I don't mind the political piece of it, because I think we need to be reminded as a people on every hand, every occasion, and every opportunity, that we do need to come together in a different way, and even more powerful now. Even more, and not just sitting back and waiting for somebody else to do it. I think the 8 years in the White House with our wonderful president, I think sometimes folks were just waiting for him to do it all, and not saying that we needed to support him and to get all that we can get. And I think it is phenomenal that you said that after 20 some years, you went back to school. So that process of it, and when you said you were in a better mindset, I think that's very important, especially not just for women, for everybody, but especially for women, to know that it's never too late to better yourself and that lifelong learning. Because a lot of women, chose to, or life chose them, and they couldn't go to school. They had to make some choices to take care of children, take care of parents, and they didn't have the opportunity to do more than one thing. So it's like the babies are now adults now. It's not, you know what? I'm going to live my dream. I remember when my daughter, my youngest daughter, graduated from high school, she turned to me on her graduation day and said, "So now what are you going to do, Mom? Because you no longer have to take care of us. It's over. Go live where you want to live." And that is so empowering. And I think all women should have that, because there's so much treasure in us. And I'm telling you, this book, when I received it, my daughters took it out my hand. I was literally in the book, literally going through it, and I was saying, "Oh, wow, you got to see this," and "Oh, wow, you should see that." And they literally were like, "Let me see." I showed them one thing, and then I didn't get it back. I actually have not gotten back into it because I just picked it up from next to one of them tonight. So I want to encourage everybody on here. You've got to go to her website, and we're going to make sure that you have all of that information to go to her website and get this book. And not only just to be enlightened, and but also to support Cheryl Woodruff-Brooks also on the forthcoming works that are coming from her. This woman has such a richness, such a wellness of information. She's a plethora. She has a plethora of information about things. And I saw actually a picture of you. I think you were standing on the Capitol steps. You were going to advocate for the arts, or something. Can you tell us about that experience and actually what that is? Because the book, your singing, all of that, and we're going to talk about, she has a wonderful, she has a second generation. Her son is a phenomenal dancer. So these gifts of artistry have passed on, which is such a blessing in itself when our children walk into whom they are, and that we have the ability to allow them to be who God has created them to be. So, but about this advocating for the arts, what is that about for you?
It was a day at the Capitol that was set aside to have various nonprofits or educators of the arts petition to lawmakers to pass and create legislation and things of that nature to keep the arts alive, and to include as a part of their budget all the various organizations within the state of Pennsylvania that offer some form of art. I've always been involved in the arts, visual, musical, the whole nine. I mean, I did plays at Caramoo. I played
Yeah.
a few musical instruments. I participated in a few things in Cleveland. Day Glow. If you go in a paint shop, I want to
Mm-hmm.
say on like Superior.
Yes,
Uh,
it's about 60 something in Superior, or maybe even
yeah.
farther down. Mm-hmm.
If you go if you go to Day Glow, I hope it's still there. I participated in something with the Superior Development Corporation. Back when I had a little bit of time on my hands, I was a stay-at-home mom during the like really early during the toddler phase of
Uh-huh.
my son. And I heard about this project because you know how you love raising your kids, but you kind of miss, you got that itch to do something. So I was
Right.
just looking for a little something to do, and I ended up painting a pig that was a part of a huge display of
Uh-huh.
pigs all over Cleveland in that
Uh-huh.
particular neighborhood. They got a big old pig I painted. Um, and I think she's hot pink, and I blinged her out. I put all these daisies on her, and that, so there's been various ways that I mentioned that to say that there's been various ways I've tried to be supportive of the arts, because it's been my whole life. I
Yeah.
mean, my Stacy's my cousin, so we're like born into this family of
I did not know
artistry.
that. I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yep.
Now I see. Now I can see the resemblance. Now, yeah,
Uh-huh.
I do. I
See?
do.
Okay, yeah. So it's
Ew.
like I was like born into
Love her.
a family that has been involved in the arts, has supported the arts. And the odd thing, I think a lot of people don't know, that it was our great grandfather, who is a
We
pastor. Yes,
did. That's
who
the connection. I
right,
just got it. Yes.
who encouraged us to be artists. So, a lot of kids don't get that, but
That's true.
it was him, and so it's so easy for me to have such a great appreciation for the arts from a lot of different angles. It's very easy for me, as well as my husband, to support our son and what he's doing, and because we have a great appreciation for it, because of our own history. And I will continue to support the arts, for as long as humanly possible, because whether we fail to realize it and recognize it, and give that genre its just due, it plays a pivotal part in our livelihood, and we take that for granted. I mean, there's already been scientific proof that just to learn to play a musical instrument can help your child academically. Just a few years of that, and I just wish we had the appreciation for art like our generations of human society, when people had the oh goodness, I'm forgetting these Greeks people's names, but Picasso and uh, Michelangelo. You know, people appreciated them so much. Kings and people of dignitaries gave them things, gave them money, gave them. They had such a great appreciation for philosophy and art. The early Greeks, and people back then too. They used to do way more than just one thing. You know,
Exactly.
they might be a sculptor, and they might play the harp. They
Yeah,
might be a scientist, and they might write classical music. And we were all okay with that. Uh,
exactly.
some of our greatest inventors were great artists as well. So, yeah. So love the arts with all my heart and soul.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Our artists were they were actually held in one of the highest regard,
Right.
because of the beauty that they brought to the world. And like you said, people don't even realize it, that art, music, the visuals is a part of all of our lives. So people don't even think that the graphic artists, when we're using our telephones and we're using, these are artists who are drawing these things, drew these things first before they became animated, before they became in life, before they became 3D and all of that. It is the artistic minds, and it's so important in our schools. I think that's the first place where our children are being stifled artistically. If there's a child in the back of the room and they're doodling, instead of punishing that child, take that piece of paper before you wad it up and look to see what that is. That might be a graphic artist in your room. And I remember when we were growing up, they used to have classes, they used to have us to write about what we want to do, what we want to be. They used to help us to dream, and gave us permission to do that. And when you're talking about Pastor Whedon, oh my Lord, yes, your grandfather inspired so many people to live the dream and live the design that God has given us. And I think that's where a lot of people are stifled in life, because they're not doing what they were designed to do, because somebody said, that's not going to make you any money. You better get a real job, because, our folks lived in the day they did. You know, you come up to the north, you get a factory job, you work it for 30 years, and then that's it, you know. And so there has got to be a mindset change. So even some of our young people now are having to kick against the bricks to even still be artistic, because uh, we as parents. So I'm loving to hear about you and your husband encouraging and giving your son the freedom to just be who he is, and whether a child or a person is artistic or not, whatever it is, if they love numbers, that you have an accountant, you have a scientist, you have a designer or something, you know. And so I love to hear this process. So now let me go back a little bit. Let's talk about here in Cleveland. Now, were you doing the Miss Ross shows? And because anybody who came up through Cleveland, because see, some people are looking at you and they're going, "She looks familiar," because you look exactly the same. Let me just bow to you, sister.
Thank you.
You look exactly the same. So some people are going to look at you and say, "She looks so familiar," but where do I know her from here in Cleveland? So let's talk about some of the places publicly that they would have seen you. So thank you for sharing about that day glow. And let me tell you, they in the summer switch it out. They do switch out those exhibits. They at one time had the bulls out. So I'll be looking for that pink bling. Everybody look for that pink bling pig, because you know they'll probably rotate that art out again. So we'll look for that. But let's talk about a little bit about this journey, because all of this has brought you to this phenomenal woman that you are. It's like gumbo. You're like gumbo. You know, I love gumbo, because all of these different things that you may not think would necessarily go together, but when it's simmered, it just brings about this aromatic, really, really good.
I like that.
Yeah, girl,
I
you
like
like
that.
gumbo. Yeah, you like
Yeah.
gumbo. You got all these different pieces of you that come together, just create this wonderful aromatics,
You know,
tasteful, bountiful thing.
that comes from being raised by folks who never put limits on you. Did nobody tell me there was nothing I couldn't do? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So
You didn't know. You didn't know.
right. Oh,
That may have been
I could
stopped.
do anything. I could do
Right.
anything I put my mind to. You just those are the
Wow.
words. Those are the words I heard. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So and I appreciate that. Mom, grandma, teachers. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Not feeling like I just had to limit myself to one thing, but as I've evolved as a person, some things that I do, they've kind of evolved with me. So let me just back up, because you hit on some things that fall right into how I ended up the way I am. Since I kind of grew up, like, bam, you're an entertainer, you're gonna sing in the choir with your family. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, do you want to?
Right.
Right. So I was like automatically made a singer right off the bat. And so I just thought that was just second nature. I never thought about like majoring in music or the arts in in college, because I'd already been doing all of this.
Yeah.
So I might as well just do something else. But I did start out dancing with my sister. People from Cleveland, they all knew Short and Sassy. Short and Sassy was dancing in talent shows, not just at Miss Ross every year, but all over Cleveland. And was really little doing that, like 7, 6 years old, just
Oh
really.
my goodness.
And I would only sing with my family because I was afraid to sing anywhere else. um and when you're young, you just think, oh, you're so worried about approval. Oh, well, what will my peers think and my friends? So I was a little, I guess, shy about just going out and singing for everybody else. And one day I walked in Miss Ross talent show. I was like, I'm auditioning. She said, to do what? I said, to sing. I think I was in like junior high. And she didn't say nothing. And I got up and I sang, and she got up and whacked me. Whack! You mean to tell me you've been able to sing all these years and you've been dancing? So that's something, that I became known for, just dancing. Um, but then eventually start doing the singing thing, start feeling a little more gutsy about that. So I what else? Oh, so I did my undergrad at Ohio University. Okay, by then I was cool. The ice had been broken, and I was just ready to go out and sing for the world. I was in a girl group in college, um, and we sang everywhere for everything all the time. We did gigs in like local bars around the college. I mean, and that was so much fun. So I did a whole lot of singing in college. So people probably know me more for singing in college than they did like in high school. Because I was involved in so many different things in high school. Heck, I didn't have time to sing. My mom was like, "You got to choose. You're in the all city band. You're a cheerleader. You singing. You gotta pick one." So I actually have been forced to select one thing. So um, that's kind of how the Cleveland thing. And once I graduated from OU, I came back to Cleveland. I worked for a Canadian mining company. I got my undergrad in finance, but I'm still going to do the arts. I'm like, I can't give it up. I started auditioning for plays at Caramoo,
Mm-hmm.
and I had so much fun working at Caramoo. I started recording in the studios. I was in a girl group a couple of times, and that was back when you like put together a demo package and you want to send it in to the record companies or meet with folks and do or go somewhere. So we working on demos, and it was a bit frustrating, trying to get a record deal in Cleveland, but I wasn't giving up, and I started experimenting with writing back then, and I also did some stuff at the Cleveland Opera too. Um, but then I told myself, I said, look, what do you want to do? You want to do more entertainment in a bigger way? Yes, I do. Um, so I quit my job and went back to school and went to Case, and got my MBA and went to New York. And I did just what I've always done. I made sure I made my bread and butter, but I went there to become a songwriter and a singer and just do it bigger. And but yeah, in Cleveland, it was all yeah. I was probably known more for being my sister's little sister, and yeah, she was the popular one, and I was her little sister. We danced all over town, so yeah. And I was in the drama club in high school, so it's kind of just I just had to be doing. I had to be doing something, acting, singing, dancing. I had to do it. I just had to do something. So people in
Yeah.
Cleveland could know me for a number of those things. Hey,
Wow.
that's a mouthful.
No, listen, I am enjoying it. That is such a rich history, just such a rich history. And I'm listening to all of the things that you did and the journey, how you just kind of like kept weaving this thing in your life, but staying true to who you are. And I think that's what happens to and I know this is for anybody that's watching, but I'm really thinking about women. Um, I think it's so important that we remain true to who we are. And even if there's anyone watching or if anyone sees this later, if you feel as though you've lost that part of you, because you've become somebody's mom, you've become somebody's daughter who's taking care of their parents. Your life has changed, as you said, morph into different people, but the center and the core of who you are is still there. And I think it's so important for women because we only get one ride on this side. And so it has to be enriched, and it's never too late. For me, the key part of you is after all of those years, saying that I'm going to go back to school now. And I think a lot of times we beat ourselves up because we think that we're supposed to be on somebody else's timeline.
Yeah,
We
you
think
make you
because our friends did this and they went right to college and did that or did this or what have you, we think that we're behind. And that's not actually it. We're never behind. We're where we're supposed to be in life. And sometimes we just have to get a shot in the arm, to
yeah
say, and that shot of the arm is self-forgiveness, to say it's okay because I chose this or this path chose me and I did my best with it. But now, because you can turn the corner at any time in your life. And so I'm really big on empowering women. And that's one of the many things that's so appealing about you, Cheryl, is that you are such a powerful example of womanhood, just womanhood itself. You know, when you talk about, you know, because you know, in all of those years, you know, people see the glory, they don't know the story, they don't know the nights.
Woo!
They don't know the nights. I can only imagine a case. I can only imagine the nights when you were like, forget this. I'm tired. My brain is burned out. I don't know if I can make it. You know, nobody goes through anything like 100%, 1,000 all of the time. You know, we know that you have that fire in you, and you had to have that fire in you to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I got to keep going. I got to keep going. But everybody has those days because, you know, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're working a job, you know, you still would have had those moments where I don't know, or I just need a break. And the power and that it takes, the self-discipline that it takes to say, I'm going to keep on because I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know,
Yeah.
what was that like? Just can you share with us just one example for somebody who's saying, yeah, but I want to do this, but yeah, I want to do this, but this has happened in my life, and that has happened in my life. And sometimes we just get bogged down, you know, and there's a lot of things for women that we deal with because we're nurturers and we're self-sacrificing by design.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you owe it to yourself, I think, as a woman to be true to yourself. And that thing inside of you that you have always thought about doing, doggone it, do it. You know, even if you're just volunteering, if it's something you want to do it. You owe it to yourself to be true to yourself. You know, one of my things is that I don't plan to have a bucket list.
Mm.
I want to do everything that I've dreamed of doing now. You
Yeah.
know, I've never sat down and created a list of things I'm going to do sometime in the future. I'm trying to plan. It might be a 5 year, it might be a 2 year, but I'm not putting off living the life I dream of. You know, and maybe when I was younger, I thought that it had to be about financial security. But I've never been more proud of myself than I have 40 since 40 and older. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
because what I'm doing now is what I've always really yearned to do. And I'm not putting any limits on myself, and I don't have this gauge. Well, if I sell 5,000, if I just sell just 5,000 CDs, then I've arrived. Or if I just sell five, it doesn't matter. The joy has come from doing what I want with my life. And you guys, it's like, take away that time factor. That's a real big piece of it. Doesn't You're right, it doesn't matter how old you are and when you start something. Just start, just do it, just live. And so I get so excited when I see stories on any of my social website where, this woman is 63 and she built like a brick house. She just started lifting like 2 years ago. Or, you know, because you have to, if you don't encourage yourself,
Mm.
nobody else will. Nobody will
Mm.
encourage you like that little voice inside that only you and God hear.
Yeah.
That what you really, really want, what you really want to do, what you would really want to look like, what you would really want to be, how you vision yourself, or what you always wanted to do. That's how you should set, and I would say set small goals. You
Yeah.
don't have to conquer the world. You can just start, um, just by doing one class, just by volunteering one place. And yeah, it does take nerve. And I'm going to tell you another part of my motivation, which I've never really broadcasted this I've never wore it on my chest like a badge of honor, but I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I've had my left breast removed completely and replaced with fat from my own body. So, and I don't talk about it much. I don't, again, I'm not this big advocate for it. Um, but and I was very fortunate because um, I think it was the second time I ever had to get a mammogram. I think when you turn 40, you have to start getting them.
Yes.
That some little dot was seen on an x-ray, which turned into a biopsy. So because I was young and because it was so minor, there was no need for chemo, there was no need for radiation. I was just like, just take that breast, please, so I can go on with my life. But the whole process of going through it was probably one of the most painful moments, periods of my life. And that helped catapult me into living my life more honestly, the way I dreamed of, because I reflected on my life, up to the point where I came to know from MRIs and all the tests that it was something that just could be plucked away, and that it wouldn't require chemo and it wouldn't require anything else, but you just to remove that little spot. Leading up to that, I was so stressed out. I was like, oh my goodness, am I going to live? Am I going to lose my head? I'm just going through it. I just pray to God at some point that I said, Lord, I just want to live to raise my son. I just want to see him grow up. If you grant me that, and the Lord didn't even the Lord's like, girl, you ain't going to die. But you think everything when you have to think about something, when you hear that word, you start thinking about your whole life. And after that, after I was good and the surgeries were over and everything, that was like a wake up call. I was like, don't put off anything else you've ever wanted to do, Cheryl. Don't do it. Do it. Do it now. And just be great and do it with this sense of gratitude that you're still here to do it. And that's when I put out my first independent CD after that. And I put out the second one. And I just, it just it that experience almost shifted me back to a reality check with myself, a reality check with who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do with my life, you know. And so I encourage all women of any age to follow what's deep inside you, and don't put a measuring stick to your progress. Just do it, and you're gonna feel gratified that you just dove in to that. Yeah.
Wow, Cheryl, you know what? I'm a that is so amazing, and I have to say I want to thank you for sharing that, because um, you don't even know how you've just spoken into the lives of listeners. You don't know, and those who will come to listen. I'm a little bit upset because we had a little bit of freezing on there, but I'm going to have you back again. I actually have to have you back again. But this is a perfect time, because I want everybody to hear Courageous, because that's my cut.
Is it now? That was kind of like my anthem for that CD. Good. I'm glad you liked it.
You hear it?
So I live every day as if it's not complain. So I change my perspective on you. I choose to love, I choose to love, I choose to soar on the road to my path, and I'll go anywhere my destiny leads. Standing up for you, truly loving me, 'cause now I see the only one responsible for my joy is me. Gonna follow my heart, make a brand new start, never play your part, 'cause I'm too smart. I survive, I'm alive. Grace is my middle name. I'm a queen with a dream, living my legacy. I choose to love, I choose to laugh, I choose to soar on the road to my path, and I'll go anywhere my destiny is.
Folks, now you all heard that. That is my cut right there.
Thank you.
I hope you hear that. Cheryl, right now, tell folks where they can get this and download your Courageous CD.
It's pretty much available anywhere digitally. You can get it off of Amazon. You can get it off of iTunes, Apple Music. I mean, anywhere digital music is sold, you can get the CD.
You know what I think? You know what I think, Cheryl? I think the movement may be what's with this app. I think that may be what's freezing us up. So maybe because I had to slow down a little bit too, and I think that because I don't want anybody to.
Oh, okay. So try it again.
I don't know for, but I to miss any information from you.
Yeah. So Courageous is available on pretty much every digital platform where music is sold: iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon, you name it. You go to CherylLWoods.com, and I'll help you find your way. I'm kind of like on every social media platform. You can just look for my music name, Cheryl Woods, and I'll help you find the CD.
But for the book, and for the book as well.
For the book, it's CherylWbrooksAuthor.com. And I'm going to another Cheryl Brooks author out there. Yeah.
Shame on her.
And she's an African American. I'm like, how about that? What a coincidence. Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the links. I promo our show. Links them on as well too, so that you all can go directly to the right one. You will get, when you get the book, you need to get the book and the CD together, because they'll both bless you. I would suggest, and thank you, because they're moderately priced. So thank you for that as well, Cheryl. But they'll make great gifts. I would suggest, especially the book, the pictorial is so fabulous. When I looked at it, I said, I have to get more because I'd like to share it with young girls, young ladies, so they can really see their history, see where they came from, and just, and then also there's a lady that's 89 years old that's dear to me. I'm going to get her one and give it to her because she'll be able to relate to this. She'll know this. Yeah. So this is a great book. But ladies, get her CD, download Courageous, because you can put that on your phone. Get that and put that on your phone. So every morning that you wake up, those words are so powerful, so uplifting, and it's just, and I can't thank you enough for sharing that journey, because people think that when we get these this news in life, whatever it is, that we just sit down and wait for life to overtake us, or wait for life to come from under us. And that's not it at all, because actually we breathe life into ourselves when we start doing, and then when you talked about volunteering and doing things, that's where the blessings come, and that's where God can manifest the gifts. And when you're talking about money, because you said you didn't worry about money, you just said, I need to accomplish these things in my life. That was giving me goosebumps. I need to, and the success was in the accomplishment, the self-accomplishing, say, I did this. And when you said no bucket list, I'm living in the bucket now. I'm doing it now. That's exactly it, because tomorrow's not promised. Tomorrow's not promised regardless. You know, you could be sitting in your house and something happens. You know, tomorrow's not promised, but to live in the now and to know that every day is a gift. And every time that we move forward, it opens up another opportunity. That's the
Yeah.
thing about it. When you souls, it's like when we just the next one a greater lead us to the next thing. And it's just you have just empowered us tonight. I tell you, I could really talk to you a lot longer. That's the reason I said I know that I've got to get you back, and we've got to talk about some more things, and we've got to keep up with you. But folks, please, I want to encourage you right now to get the Chicken Bone Beach and also to get the Courageous CD. Get that, share that with somebody. The links are going to be on there. Go ahead. Do that. Let's support this sister. Let's get the story out. You need to see this pictorial. And I saw famous people in there. Like
Yes, did you see Martin Luther King in them
I
polka
saw
dot shorts?
I saw Martin Luther King on the beach.
Yeah,
you know, I was like,
chilling.
he wasn't Martin Luther King there. He's just, you know what I'm saying? He was coming in. He was on his journey, in his process.
Yeah.
You know, like when we're interacting with people, that was just proof of it. When we're interacting with people, that's why it's so important that we treat people well and we give and we glean, because you don't know what you're giving to somebody else. Like, you just blessed people tonight, Cheryl. Thank you.
Well, let me
so
tell
much.
you something. It really touches my heart when people tell me, and you're not the first, that they love the track Courageous, because that I owned my truth in that song. You know, in order to write that, I had to be vulnerable to write that song, because I was telling the truth, and sometimes that's not always the case as a songwriter. Some stuff is just is it could be from any memory, but I wanted the name, I wanted the title of the album, I wanted that one song to be authentically from a place in my heart, and to be able to write those words. I had to look at my flaws, my pain. You know, I had to do a self-examination to be able to say, I'm not going to blame anybody else in the world for being unhappy. It isn't anybody else's fault, and ain't nobody else responsible for it. You know, I had to do some self-check just to write that. But I felt a sense of freedom. You know, it's funny you've spoken to it, when we own our truth, we don't just heal ourselves, we help other people own theirs. You know, and I'm seeing that's what that song in particular did. So I'm so glad that you like that song. And yeah, please play it to motivate yourself every morning.
It is more than like it. That song went through me. And, you know, I'm a vocalist. I'm a musician as well, too. So, you know, our world is full of music. I mean, we're just bombarded with it. But it is something. And when you talk about owning your truth and how you had to go into the deepest, darkest, you had to go around corners and around the bend, and you had to dig deep for that song. You feel that. I felt that in that song. I mean, all of the songs are beautiful. I mean, because it's another one. Which one is it? All You Need. It's a lot of, it's you. Look, just get the CD, folks. Just get it. But that Courageous is life-giving. You know, my mother used to say, things from the heart reach the heart. That Courageous is life-giving. People, I am telling you, get the CD, put Courageous on your phone, buy it for somebody else, send it to them. Anybody that you know needs an uplifting word, give that. Because courage that's a word we don't use a lot anymore. You know, people are like, I got this. I get, you know what I'm saying? But courageous itself has such a powerful meaning. To be courageous, it doesn't mean that you're without fear. It doesn't mean that you're without pain. It means that you're all of those things. It means that you feel all of that. You feel
move forward anyway.
You feel self-loathing. You feel, you know, lack of self-worth. It's all of the things that you are not. That's what makes you courageous, when you move forward in spite of.
Yeah.
So that's it. And even your pictures. I love the pictures with you on the beach, and it's like the freedom of it. It's like I just want you to know that That is, and everybody won't know, but the CD is anointed, but that courageous is from God. That courageous is from God. So folks, I'm just telling you, sometimes, let me put it like this for people. Sometimes you're looking for a way to give back, and everybody wants to give back. And I said this all the time, and I mean it. Everybody wants to give back at Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. But you know what? When you have a person like this who is doing everything herself, is putting her own resources into things because she feels a need to get that out. She needs a need to feel a need to share that when it's her passion and it's her gift. I think it's also our duty to support. I think it's our duty to support, but also in supporting, we can breathe life into others. And then what we also do is support her into bringing more to the table for us to dine on. Because that's what it is. This chicken bone beach, because I'm thinking when I saw it, I was like, fried chicken. They were selling fried chicken, chicken bone beach, but it's so much more, So it's like she is bringing something to the table for us to dine on, something for us to share with others. And that courageous, let me tell you something. If you are in a place and you don't feel courageous, people, that song will help to get you there because the lyrics are so powerful. Even the melody, it's like it's moving and haunting at the same time. I don't know if those are good words. It's like it kind of like just comes over you. Dun, dun, dun. It just kind of like it just kind of wraps around you, and it's not overproduced. So we'll get into the technical part of it. It's not overproduced. It's not a whole lot going on where you can't get the lyrics. It's got enough, but simple enough where you just feel this vibe. It just kind of like goes in you and just kind of weaves around you. I'm telling y'all, courageous is it. So get the CD. I'll have the links on there. But support this sister. I want to ask you all, go to her page, go to her website, give her a word of encouragement, inbox her if you like to, since you all are on social media. I think it's important that we support people. I think when we see people do great things, sometimes those are the people that are less celebrated because people figure like, oh, somebody else is doing it, or whatever. But I just think it's important when people pour out like that, when you give of yourself and it's there, you do want people to appreciate it. You do want to feel like, even though you have the satisfaction of, I could check that off, I got that done, but you want to feel like the work can go on, that the work is affecting, that what I shared with you, the blood on the paint, is going to make a difference in somebody else's life. So even in tonight, in her sharing, you all had an opportunity to hear something that was very, very important. They chose to share it tonight. And I'm so grateful to you for that, Cheryl. Thank you so much, because you don't know the people who are watching tonight and the people that are going to see this in the future, that it's going to bless them, because it's like a seed being planted. When it's under the ground and it's germinating, we don't plant in the flower when it blossoms. But that germination is most important when that seed is planted. So thank you for planting seeds of hope tonight. Thank you for planting seeds of encouragement tonight. Thank you for courageous. Thank you for courageous. Thank you for being courageous. Thank you for empowering others to be so as well. If people want to write to you or people want to message you, how do they get in touch with you? I know I'm going to put the links on there again, but if somebody wants to send you a note or send you a message or something, how do they reach you?
Yeah, my email is my name, Cheryl, at CherylWbrooks.com.
Simple enough. Cheryl at CherylWbrooks.com. So I want to encourage you all, send her a note. You can share your own stories, because I know that there are 1,000 stories in the Naked City, at least, on my block anyway, in my house anyway. So, just share. I want to invite you to share a word of encouragement with her. Are you on tour? Are you going to be back in Cleveland anytime? Are you going to be singing or doing a book tour anywhere, or anything in the works right now? Or we know that we're going to go ahead, because we can subscribe to your website.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No. So we can subscribe to your website, and that way we can get updates.
Yeah. I am on a book signing tour, and I am posting the dates of the events on my website. Um, Although I am signed by a publishing company, I am taking initiative to create my own signings, and um, my goal is to try to cover the states that in particular I know there's some history of Chicken Bone Beach directly, like Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and then try to work my way into some other states. But I wanted to cover those especially because there's so much history where I know people from those states who actually frequented the beach. I am trying to do something in Cleveland, and I've been in the talks of it as we speak. So I'm just gonna try and see. The music, like I told you before, I can't do it all at the same time. So I I'm I'm focused on the book for now, and I probably won't get back in the studio and do anything for a while, and just try to perform locally as much as I can for now. But the shift has been um, towards the book for now. Yep.
All right. Well, listen, if you come home for a visit or anything, please let me know ahead of time, because we'll do something impromptu. We will, if we have to go to a Panera or a coffee shop or something, and have so the folks can meet you and have your book. So people, and let me tell y'all, it's like if she will autograph your book. I'm not showing y'all what she said to me, but I just want you to know she will autograph your book if you order it. She will sign your book. The author will sign your book and send your book to you. So it's just a blessing. But yeah, if you come home, you got to let me know ahead of time, because I would just love to reshare you with Cleveland again. You know, people know Short and Sassy, and people may have, you know, we got to get the rebels in the house, and you know, we got
yeah.
yeah, we got to get the rebels in the house, and just share you, because again, you are just a wealth of treasure. And again, I cannot thank you enough for being here tonight. And I hope that you will find time in your busy schedule and your life to come back again on the show and share with our audience. But before we leave, real quickly, please tell us about your talented son. And
oh my goodness. He did inherit that dance thing from not me, even though we did well, kind of me, but
yeah,
my mother danced professionally at a time in her life. So it was in the genes. My grandmother, her mother, even danced at a point in her time in the 20s. My son is 15. He's been
Is
taking
he only
dance.
15?
Yeah,
He's only 15.
he's
Oh wow.
tall. He's like 5'11". He's been taking dance since he was 6. He came into, what I loved about him. He came into the world knowing that's what he wanted to do. We didn't have to figure him out. He told us, and he told us that like when he was like 3. Um, and I hate to this day we lost some footage of him, some video we took of him. He sat us down one day, my husband and I, and said, watch me dance. And he just started moving around like he knew, like he had already auditioned for Alvin Ailey, and we just kind of looked. And I said, well, honey, I guess at some point we're going to have to put this kid in the dance school. And when he turned 6, we were here in Pennsylvania, and we asked him, I said, what do you want to take? And he said, hip hop. And although he takes contemporary, ballet,
Yes.
jazz, tap, he adores hip hop the most. I love watching them tap myself. But,
Yeah, because that's almost a lost art. I mean,
yeah, and he's got these long legs,
Yeah.
so it's so nice to watch. him perform. So, you know, we've tried to nurture his craft, respect him as the art form God put in him. That's what we do. We encourage him to live his dream, be himself. Um, we do talk to him about making a living. You know, we talk to him about the struggles of an artist. You know, we do keep it real, but um, nothing warms my heart more than to watch him perform. And I, you know, being the kind of person I am, there's no way in the world I would not raise my child to not be who he is, to not follow his passions. Who am I to take that from that child? But to encourage him to dream his dream like I've been encouraged to dream mine. And I'm very proud of his progress and his dedication. I'm about to get off the phone. I'm about to get off the line with you and go run and get him from practice. He's pretty much
Okay.
at practice like 6
Okay.
out of 7 days a week. And
Okay.
every red cent we have goes to costumes and competition fees. And, you know, the whole, everybody knows whether it's a soccer mom or baseball,
Yes.
whatever the case may
Yes.
be. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't. If he decides when he's 25 to do something completely different, I'll know within my heart that what he spoke to us growing up, we did our best to support him in it. And I'm just I can't I look forward to his future. I look forward to turning on the Grammys and seeing my son back dancing with, yes, I vision it, you know. I visualize a great professional life for him, if that's what he so desires. So remember that name, Akiva Brooks, because
Akiva Brooks. Akiva
yes.
Brooks. It's going to happen. We're going to let you go get him because I know how that is. We're on here longer, but you know what? It was
It's
so
been such
worth
a
it.
pleasure.
Thank you, Cheryl,
Thank
so
you.
much. We thank you. The links will be posted, folks. So again, Courageous CD, Chicken Bone Beach. Go ahead and message her. Let her know how much you enjoyed her. Thank you, Cheryl. Love you.
Thank you.
God
Love
bless.
you
Take
too.
care,
God
everybody.
bless you. Bye.
Bye.